Hi everybody, hope you guys are having a good weekend. Alright, so this is a video I wanted to do for a while, but then I kind of waited because I happened to see last night the Tommy Boy, a movie with Chris Farley and David Spade. So, okay, it was 1995 when it came out, and sadly we lost Chris Farley in 1997. But I was 13 when it came out, so I didn't really watch it at the time, but I'm glad I watched it last night. But I have to warn you. Okay, if you like pratfalls and people just being kind of strange to be funny, it's really cool. Otherwise, it's just odd. Because, okay, Tommy, played by Chris Farley, graduates college, barely, gets a D plus in history, and that's what makes him graduate college. Okay? Because he graduates college, his father, played by Brian Dennehy, gives him an office in their auto parts store. Now, alright, it is in the middle of nowhere, supposedly Sandusky, Ohio. I mean, no disrespect to Sandusky, Ohio, but the father tells him he's going to get married to Bo Derek. Bo Derek, the woman that was in the movie 10. The woman with braids. Okay? So I'm thinking, how's this possible? And I'm thinking, okay, you're going to have to suspend your disbelief here because this would never happen in real life. Okay, odds are a person the size of Brian Dennehy would not attract someone like Bo Derek. So my wheels are already spinning, right? Then he says, meet your new brother, played by Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe, a member of the Brat Pack. Okay? Okay. So, and then here's where it gets twisted. Because literally, this is a piece for produced by Lorne Michaels of Saturday Night Live fame. Okay? But it's a piece for Chris Farley and David Spade to shine. Okay, so David Spade plays his father's number cruncher assistant in the business. Okay, and they're supposed to play like they hate each other. Hate each other. Okay. Clearly they grow to love each other, and clearly they loved each other off screen. But okay. So there are a couple of choice moments that I was like, okay, Rob Lowe trying to get in good with his new stepbrother decides he wants to go out and do something where they are, right? So he asks, what do you do around here? So he says, cow tipping. Literally, you knock over a cow. And Rob Lowe says, what? That's what you do for fun around here? And he's making fun of the whole thing. That is the point at which I wanted to, I don't know, punch Rob Lowe in the face. Then I'm jumping ahead, okay, a little bit. Then they get married. Bo Derek and Brian Dennehy get married. They're married for approximately 5 minutes, maybe, because they get on the dance floor. He's dancing. Brian Dennehy is dancing, and he passes out and dies. I'm not making this up. Okay? So then the story gets more convoluted as you go. Turns out that Rob Lowe's character and Bo Derek's character were faking their name, faking their relationship. They're a married couple and she was trying to get his money. Okay? Okay. Further on, so they make Tommy the new salesman of the company, right? And he has to go on a road trip with David Spade to prove he can be the head of the company, right? Okay. He starts getting no, 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 no. Everybody says no. And then he turns into himself, and everybody says yes. Okay. So then there's one moment that's really funny, that's really odd. Okay. Now, you have two men in a car. Two men that are like on edge most of the time. So they're playing with this stereo, flipping the channels, and they finally stop on the Carpenters. The Carpenters. Okay? Okay, now you have to imagine that these two men are the furthest people on the planet. Okay? Like, you have to believe that these people would never hang out in their life. So he says, David Spade says to Chris Farley, do you want me to change the station? No, whatever, it's cool with me. And so then they ask back and forth, and they both agree. Turns out they sing the song Closer to You by the Carpenters at the top of their lungs, and they're crying at the end of it. Now, a little bit of history for you. Karen Carpenter, as we all know by now, I hope, has died from anorexia nervosa, which was a disease, but not well known in the time because she died in 1983. Now, this film was made 12 years later. Okay? 12 years. And they still have it playing on the car radio. That speaks to the popularity of the Carpenters right there. So that was a great thing. Okay, now getting along with the movie. Okay, so Mr. Zelensky, played by Dan Aykroyd, because Dan Aykroyd was part of the thing of he was on SNL, and he met and he loved Chris Farley, so he was in the movie. Interesting thing here. Dan Aykroyd played a guy who was really sweet in the commercial, was not like that in real life in the movie. Now he's a really sweet guy in real life, but the character he played in the movie was totally opposite of what you think it's going to be, right? Okay, so somehow Chris Farley's character convinces him to buy a bunch of brake pads for a lot of money. Okay? So then he stays in business and yada, yada, yada. Okay. So then Rob Lowe's character, Paul, finally gets his comeuppance, and then Bo Derek decides to stay with Dan Aykroyd's character. End of movie. Well, no, the actual end of the movie was there was a scene early on in the movie where he's with the girl Michelle. Chris Farley is with the girl named Michelle. Okay? They're trying to use a sailboat, kind of a dinghy, a small boat. But you have to have wind. There's no wind to be found. In the last scene, he says, oh, I've got a problem. He's talking to his dad on the lake. He says, life is good, everything's good except for I got a date with Michelle, but I got no wind to power the sailboat. Out of nowhere, a gust of wind comes, and he's able to get there. That's the last scene of the movie. So, good movie. Probably wouldn't see it again, but glad I saw it one time. There you go. Bye, everybody.